A very good afternoon to Peter Bleksley. Can you speak French?
Bonjour.
Comment ça va?
That's the extent of my French.
Ça va bien, tout, mon ami? You're proper Del Boy, aren't you, from Only Fools and Horses? I'd like a bonjour. Peter Bleksley, I feel like I'm in the presence of sort of royalty, because from sort of Met Police detective to voice on the radio to one-man show going round the United Kingdom later in the year.
In 2026, thank you very much.
That's next year then.
You're very kind, yeah, starting in January, coming to a theatre near you.
And he said, if you promote it, I'll give you... He didn't at all. I'm very proud of you, though.
Thank you.
Standing there in your pack-a-mac, you look in the park.
Thank you. Tickets on sale now.
Yeah,
PeterBleksley.com. Thank you.
Pete, I said to Ryan this morning, only one person to get it. I just want your take on this. Criminals in Britain's jails suspending their sentences, getting high and watching daytime TV, which isn't what it was. I think you'd agree with that. This is the prison's watchdog. His Majesty's Chief Inspector of Prisons, Charlie Taylor, says that drones used by criminal gangs are so accurate now that they can deliver drugs and weapons, such as zombie knives, directly to prisons' windows. There's an app being used by gangs to pinpoint drop-off locations to the nearest 3-yard square. Mr. Taylor says, you'd know this, it costs 57 grand a year to keep someone locked up, and most are in their cells, high on drugs, watching daytime TV. Now, the lefties would say that's because they're locked up in their cells for 22 hours a day and there's no space, blah, blah, blah. We should rehabilitate them. What do you say?
Well, there's a number of factors at play here. First and foremost, just to reiterate, this comes from the man paid for by the government to inspect our prisons. He knows what he's talking about. This is the absolute unshakable truth about the state of our prisons, where there were 7 murders last year, where there are hundreds of assaults on staff every year, some of them extremely serious. The prisoners have taken over the prisons. Drugs are a very valuable commodity in prison. They actually have greater value than they do on the street. Organised crime runs the dealing of the drugs in the prisons, just like it runs the dealing of the drugs on the other side of the prison wall. In certain prison, Islamist gangs rule the roost, force people into conversion, and there is, of course, an air of menace, and the threat of violence is prominent in far too many
and
jails.
That's why nobody wants to work in it. I mean, I actually have total sympathy on many occasions for the staff that work in prisons, who presumably can never be ready. There's never enough. They're never trained well enough. They're on a kicking before they even get in there, aren't they? And
they're not paid enough.
No.
And their pension entitlements have been butchered in recent years, like so many other of the 999 services. And the ludicrous situation now is that if you start as a prison officer at the age of 18, you will have to serve 50 years, yes, 50 years on the landing, on the wing, before you get full pension entitlement. Who, at the age of 68, wants to be swinging the keys in a prison with all of the aforementioned? Nobody. It's lunacy. It's absolutely beyond the pale, and that is why our prisons are in such a state. It is why so many people do not come out of jail rehabilitated. Here's a story for you, true story from last week. Somebody got in touch. They said, yeah, my pal is coming towards the end of a lengthy sentence, okay? They've served 7 years, so that gives you an indicator of how long their original sentence was. They're getting towards the point of release. They spent a few months...
Probably 15 then, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. They spent a few months off drugs in a desperate attempt to come out of jail clean, and they are now battling all the kind of forces of evil that are drawing this person back towards drugs. And the last I heard, he'd fallen off the wagon. Ketamine, particularly, was a tempter he couldn't resist.
So, do you want to listen to Macron speak?
No, thank you.
No. Do you want to listen to Macron speak? Why would I want to hear a bit of it? I'll tell you... well, hold on a second, Pete. Let's have a listen a minute.
My wife Bridget and myself and my whole
That's
delegation.
enough for me. Can you tell him what I want to say to him, please?
Bonjour, Monsieur Macron. Je veux récupérer mes 700 millions.
Yeah, I want my money back. Shut up. I'm speaking to Peter Bleksley. Crack on.
Yeah, so consequently, there is another person who tried and failed to get themselves clean. You know, getting clean, people need support to do that.
Are we saying that prison... and you're a hard man, but I've always talked to you on this because I think you're very interesting. Right, prison was always, for me, supposed to be You break the law, you go to prison. But there has increasingly, with lack of space, lack of staff, for obvious reasons. I mean, irrespective of the violence, the pay, the treatment, why would anybody want to do that, as you quite rightly said, in terms of the pension even? But so prisons are so full that prisoners of all standards and levels are being crammed into cells, left there all day because there isn't enough people to oversee them doing exercise. So amongst themselves, they're dealing, they're trading, gangs from outside are getting involved. I jokingly said if I took the money back off Macron, I'd build... How much would it cost to build a new prison? 75 million, do you?
750 mil, I reckon I could knock one together, yeah.
No, 10 prisons for that, 75 million for a prison.
No, they're rather expensive.
Oh, really?
But, yeah.
Pricey thought, all right, well...
I'm no expert.
All right, well, I'm going to say
front,
five then. I'm going to fight five prisons, right?
Yeah.
We've got the situation where foreign criminals are also in our prisons, which is
yes,
although
about 12% of the prison population.
How frightening is that?
Yeah.
Although there was, of course, space in the prisons when Starmer arrested all those far-right thugs.
Yeah.
But my point is this. What is the answer? Because I won't go the other way to, oh, we should be, you know, saying there, it'll be all right. But if prison doesn't make you better, in all seriousness, if prison in this way means you're sitting watching daytime TV and smoking crack, that's no good for anybody, is it? It's pointless spending 57 grand a year on someone who will be outside smoking crack and committing more crime.
I don't know how long I've got, so I'm going to be rapid with
You've got
this,
as long
okay?
as you want. This
Thank
is your
you.
show.
I have a plan for prison reform.
Give it to me.
Some people are going to balk, but this is my plan. Abolish all sentences less than 4 years. You only go to jail for a minimum of 4 years. Now, in order to do that, community punishments, non-custodial punishments, must be stern, they must be properly administered, they must be visible. So I'm talking almost like kind of, you know, chain gangs being seen, visible, high-vis jackets, repainting painting railings in parks, picking up litter, doing so much that could be done in the community as a punishment.
Yeah.
But you only go to jail for a minimum of 4 years. In the first year, that is all about compliance. You comply with the regime. In the second year, you apply and, if successful, go on the educational or vocational plan, which will see you at the end of 4 years leave with a qualification. You will also be clean because the disciplines will be run, the prisons will be run with absolute discipline. There won't be drugs. There won't be drug dealers. And quite simply, there's not going to be any of this get 15 years and serve half nonsense. None at all. You may earn some remission, but there will be no immediate entitlement to half off or a third off or 2/3 off. You can kiss goodbye to all of that. And what will very quickly enter the British psyche when people say, for example, it's a Friday night, a team of builders have been working all week, they're getting paid in the pub, and there they are, Steve and Terry, having a few pints, and Terry decides to have a third pint foolishly, or a fourth pint foolishly. It'll enter in a British psyche, because his mates will say, is that pint worth 4 years? Is it worth 4 years? Don't be a mug. Stop it, walk home. Right? The whole 4 year thing will enter into the psyche. Persistent shoplifters that are stealing every day of the week. None of this community resolution, none of that nonsense. 4 years. 1 year to comply, 3 years to get clean, train, or be educated. Completely revamp the system.